Okay, so the video I'm checking out now is the fish fillet actually fish? All right. Now I know what the internet says. I know what people have been saying forever, that it's not fish. Fish are not shaped like square patties, but we're going to find out what the facts are. Now, admittedly, I have enjoyed the Filet-O-Fish for many years. It's been years since I've had it. I don't eat McDonald's. Okay, once you learn what's in it, and that it's just not good for you in general. But if I were eating McDonald's, I'm it's a guilty pleasure. I would eat a Filet-O-Fish. I would eat the McChicken. I would eat the nuggets. Not too crazy about the double cheeseburgers. But no, I don't do McDonald's. Although I do miss the steak bagel for breakfast. I miss eating that. That was pretty good. Who knows? That might be zombie skin or something. But yeah, it's a little bit of education here as far as revealing whether or not it's really fish. Okay, do me a big favor and like the video. If you like the video, subscribe and hit that notification bell if you want to stay up to date whenever I post. Let's check this out.
The Filet-O-Fish is one of the most famous items on the McDonald's menu.
How many Filet-O-Fishes did you eat? That's over several months, Ryan.
Before the advent of its fishy shtick, the fast food giant only sold burgers, fries, milkshakes, and various drinks like Coke, root beer, milk, and coffee. These classic items served the chain well for over a decade, but as the franchise expanded, so did the needs of the fast food-loving public, and the Filet-O-Fish caught our collective attention. Hook, line, and sinker. But how much fish is actually in a Filet-O-Fish? And is it
I think it's the sauce that sells it. I don't know.
even fish? Well, today we're trawling the depths to figure out what's actually in a Filet-O-Fish. But before we dive into today's video, be sure to subscribe to the Weird History Food channel and let us know in the comments which historic fast food menu item you would like to hear about next.
That link will be in the description. And also, if you eat McDonald's, what's your go-to? All right. If you don't, what was your favorite thing to get? You know, me, once I learned that something is extremely toxic for me, you know, I try to minimize it or erase it out of my life, you know, but for years, you know, I was tearing it. They have the little special where you get two sandwiches and the fries, and then 3 hours later you're hungry again. Okay, but it was delicious, especially when it was fresh.
Okay, time to get to the bottom of this fish tank. Lou Groen was a World War II veteran and restaurateur who opened the Cincinnati area's first ever McDonald's location on January 13th, 1959.
Cincinnati,
By that point,
okay.
Groen had
Ohio.
already managed a successful cafe and served as the president of the Restaurant Association of Greater Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky. So he should have had what it took to bring Mickey D's to a whole new market. But much to Groen...
I bet that sandwich was smacking back then. You know, before all the super preservatives. I'm just taking a wild guess, but I bet it was good.
Should have had what it took to bring Mickey D's to a whole new market. But much to Groen's dismay, business was slow to start. With the help of his wife and children, his humble fast food joint treaded water for 2 years, but just couldn't make enough money to stay afloat. Their worst business day of the week was Friday, and not because the entire town was following some diet trend, although that was technically kind of the case. Groen's McDonald's only made around $75 every Friday because 87% of the population in his corner of Cincinnati was Catholic, and Catholics abstained from eating red meat on Fridays. Unsurprisingly, this was bad news for a burger restaurant.
You learn something new every day.
Groen wanted to keep his head above water, he'd have to come up with a way to reel in crowds on their holy days. Luckily for him, he wasn't the only fast food restaurant in town.
Is that still true? Do Catholics still follow that suit? Do they still avoid eating red meat on the weekends or on Friday? Okay, no steak, just fish?
He wasn't the only fast food restaurant in town. Another local chain, Frisch's Big Boy, was thriving. And Groen determined that the uptick in business had to do with the fish sandwich the place was serving to its Catholic patrons.
I've never liked Big Boy.
It became his mission to net himself some of that business. So he went to work cooking up his own recipe for his newly dubbed Filet-O-Fish sandwich. In 1961, Groen took his sandwich all the way to the top, traveling to the McDonald's corporate office in Chicago to meet legendary owner Ray Kroc. But Kroc didn't take the bait. In a 2006 interview, Groen told Business Courier that Kroc was opposed to the idea because he didn't want his McDonald's restaurants stunk up with the smell of fish.
Oof.
As it happened, Kroc thought up his own meat-based alternative for practicing Catholics. Enter the Hula Burger. Croc's innovative vegetarian burger was, wait for it, a slice of pineapple and cheese on
What
a
the
hamburger
hell?
bun.
Ugh.
Points for creativity. The renowned
Come on, man. Who's eating that? I don't even think vegans would eat that.
businessman was confusingly confident that his sweet and cheesy treat would have a mass appeal, but he didn't want to dismiss Groen's idea outright. Apparently, in the mood for
On second thought, they just might, you know.
renowned businessman was confusingly confident that his sweet and cheesy treat would have a mass appeal, but he didn't want to dismiss Groen's idea outright. Apparently, in the mood for some friendly competition, Kroc left the ultimate decision up to the public. On Good Friday, 1962, Groen's Filet-O-Fish sandwich and Kroc's Hula Burger battled it out in a few select McDonald's locations. The terms of the deal were simple. Whichever item sold the most by the
Hey, I remember that packaging.
end of the day would
I'm
earn
not this old, but I remember that. Well, what year did you say this was?
a permanent spot on the menu. Unfortunately for Kroc, it wasn't so much a battle as it was a slaughter. 350 Filet-O-Fish sandwiches were sold on that Good Friday, while the Hula Burger floundered with a measly 6. Talk about shooting fish in a barrel. After swallowing his pride and presumably a fish sandwich, Kroc kept his word. Throughout the next few years, the Filet-O-Fish was rolled out at McDonald's franchise locations across the country. And in 1965, it officially became the first new item added to McDonald's national menu.
Can I admit something with you guys? I'm embarrassed myself now, but watching this Filet-O-Fish mini short documentary has me wanting a Filet-O-Fish sandwich. I would never really get it unless I was stuck somewhere in the city and there was nothing else to eat. But man, it looks good.
Since Ray Kroc took over the chain. Kroc joked that after all that work, the Pope would change the rules. And sure enough, the same year the Filet-O-Fish went national, the Second Vatican Council announced that red meat was no longer off the menu on all Fridays. Now, carnivorous Catholics only had to give up their meat during Lent. But that didn't stop the Filet-O-Fish from becoming an
They can just
exceedingly
change it like
popular
that?
staple at McDonald's locations across the country.
So they can just change it? I mean, how does that work?
The Pope would change the rules. And sure enough,
So the Pope can just say, now you can eat steak on Fridays.
the same year the Filet-O-Fish went national, the Second Vatican Council announced that red meat was no longer off the menu on all Fridays. Now, carnivorous Catholics only
some
had to
power.
give up their meat during Lent. But that didn't stop the Filet-O-Fish from becoming an exceedingly popular staple at McDonald's locations across the country. Over the 6 decades it has enjoyed being on the menu, it disappeared only briefly in 1996 as a part of McDonald's poorly conceived deluxe line. It returned soon after due to public outcry. Also over those 6 decades, the Filet-O-Fish has been the subject of several marketing campaigns, though you probably don't remember most of them. As it turns out,
And I will say this, one thing I've never been able to get with, and I tried, is the McRib, okay? The McRib, I've never, it's just the sauce makes it tolerable, but that was never one that I really could get my head wrapped around. I did do hacks, though. Did anybody ever do any hacks where I would order a double cheeseburger and tell them to put mac sauce on it so I pay less instead of just buying the Big Mac, which is mostly bread? Oh, my bad here.
though you probably don't remember most of them. As it turns out, the Big Fish sells itself, and the sandwich's original slogan, "The fish that catches people," told us as much. Mickey D's stuck with that catchy slogan until 1976, when they introduced a fresh face to their growing lineup of mascot characters. Mr. Filet-O-Fish was a smiling fish wearing a fetching hat and
Never
a
seen this.
jacket with a McDonald's logo emblazoned on the front. He carried a fishing net and encouraged hungry guests to try the Filet-O-Fish.
I can see why he hasn't stood the test of time, but that scary-looking Ronald McDonald has been with him forever.
For a surprisingly good taste. Despite Phil's best efforts to sell out his brethren and save his own tail, he was retired just a
Right.
year later.
I can see.
In place of Phil, McDonald's went through a slew of advertisements for the sandwich, including 1976's Food for Thought campaign, 1978's Deliciously Different
I
slogan,
remember the Filet-O-Fish song. It was like, "Give me back that blue fish. Give me the fish." I think that's McDonald's.
and 2009's iconic "Give Me Back That Filet-O-Fish"
Yeah.
commercials.
Yeah.
As for Groen, he opened
Those
a
were
total
fun.
of 42 McDonald's locations over the years and raked in millions of dollars until he sold the lot back to the company in 1986. The titan of industry passed away in 2011, but his legacy lives on in his family, with many of his relatives owning their own McDonald's franchises, which all proudly serve his fishy creation. Okay, so we know the history of the sandwich. Now it's time to find out what's actually in it, because there are few phrases that send more terror through a foodie's spine than fast food seafood. Along with its ever-changing marketing campaigns, the Filet-O-Fish has seen a fair few changes to its recipe over the years. Originally,
Here we go.
Grown sandwich was a simple piece of battered halibut, tartar sauce, and a slice
Give me some bad news. I don't know what I've been eating all these years.
of cheese between two hamburger buns. Between its invention and its official launch in 1965, Kroc and Grown made a few tweaks. The first was trimming down that slice of cheese. You may have noticed that the modern Filet-O-Fish, as we know it today, only comes with a half slice of cheese, rather than a whole square. According to McDonald's Big Cheese,
You know what? I've noticed that. Mind you, it's been years, but I never really paid too much attention. Wow, talk about cutting corners. All right, a half a slice of cheese.
this was because an entire slice would overpower the taste of fish. But some suspect it was merely a cost-cutting measure.
That's what
the
it
next
was.
change McDonald's made to the original recipe was the bun. Rather than a traditional toasted hamburger bun, the Filet-O-Fish is served on a fluffier, steamed bun, which helps keep the taste and texture of the fish from being overpowered. The third and final change to Grown's recipe was the fish itself. Halibut turned out to be too expensive to use on a nationwide scale. Originally, the Filet-O-Fish was to be sold for 25 cents, but the use of halibut made it cost 30. Cod became the fish of choice for the new sandwich. But in order to avoid association with cod liver oil, they called the main ingredient by its fancier name, North Atlantic whitefish.
Wow.
Instead, the deceptively marketed cod was the de facto Filet-O-Fish ingredient for 50 years at the fast food chain, but that changed in 2013. After North Atlantic whitefish were placed on the critically endangered species list, McDonald's switched to the cheap and sustainable Alaska pollock, which it still uses today. But no matter what kind of fish you're slicing, none of them are square. So why do the Filet-O-Fish patties boast such a specific square shape? Well,
I just assumed they minced them, like chopped it up and then put it in a patty and breaded it or something. Nothing too complicated. I didn't think that they were out there catching square fish, like some people think.
according to Mickey D's corporate office, their Alaska pollock is layered in whole fillets and then cut into convenient blocks of fish flesh, which can then be easily processed and stored. And we all know, squares are the most delicious shape. The breading on the patty also contains bleached white flour made with chemicals like benzoyl peroxide, potassium bromate, or chlorine. Fish and chlorine
A bunch of stuff I can't spell.
usually don't mix, except at McDonald's. Chlorine and peroxide aren't the only chemicals you may worry about when you pull up to your local McDonald's drive-thru for the catch of the day. There's also a not-so-healthy dose of hydrogenated soybean oil.
Right, which is most stuff is fried in cancerous oils, okay? Whether it's Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, or whatever, all that stuff is not fried in anything good.
For good measure. Hydrogenated soybean oil is used in all sorts of fast food items because it helps keep them shelf stable for longer periods of time. But it has also been linked to diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. And finally, the Filet-O-Fish is also hiding polysorbate 80, which is made from dehydrated sugar, alcohol, and fatty acids.
Damn.
It helps to reduce fat separation in food,
I wonder who's eating McDonald's and watching this video.
but it's also used in household cleaners and cosmetics. Hey, that Filet-O-Fish wants to look good.
What a great video. Informative.
If you're still hungry after all that toxic talk, we don't blame you.
Yeah, that's how messed up my brain is. It still looks delicious. I'm just practicing restraint.
There's a reason the Filet-O-Fish is as popular as it is. And that reason is, it's delicious. It's so
It
delicious
is.
that over the years, other famous fast food chains have tried to muscle in on McDonald's turf in the seafood surf wars. Arby's, Bojangles, Burger King, Dairy Queen,
Arby's made a pretty good fish sandwich. I'm going back to when I was eating fast food. I think Arby's made a pretty damn good fish sandwich, better than the Filet-O-Fish, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, probably not as good as at marketing and not as popular, but pretty good. And their nuggets, or boneless chicken, also taste better than the nuggets from McDonald's.
Arby's, Bojangles, Burger King, Dairy Queen, Popeyes, Wendy's, and White
Oh, Popeyes.
Castle have all gone fishing for their own slice of the fish pie. And while each restaurant puts its own spin on the classic sandwich, the public remains divided on which one is truly the most delicious.
Oh, well, we're talking about the most delicious. I'm not saying they're the most delicious of all fish sandwiches because I love a good fish sandwich. It's been a long time since I had one. I know I said it a few times, but it's just McDonald's is on every corner. It's very convenient, and it used to be very cheap. I don't know if it still is, but yeah, there's other places that have a better tasting fish, and also it doesn't really fill you up. At least me, I would eat that with some fries. Most of the time, I just get the 2 sandwiches, but sometimes I get the fries with it, and I'd be hungry again like 2 hours later.
But surprisingly, there's no debate on which is best for you. According to a 2023 Men's Health article, even with all those worrying additives, the McDonald's Filet-O-Fish takes home the title of healthiest fish sandwich. Maybe
Who did that study?
that's why it still reigns supreme, selling around 300 million sandwiches annually. That's a lot of pollock. Even after all this time, the initial spark for the Filet-O-Fish's invention proves to be relevant.
I don't know anything about pollock.
Around 25% of those sales occurring during Lent, bringing it all the way back to Lou Groen's original idea of making a sandwich to serve to his Catholic customers. Just don't let them go to Captain D's. So what do you think? Does the Filet-O-Fish's list of ingredients make you think twice about ordering one? Or is it so delicious you don't care what they put in it? Let us know in the comments below. And while you're at it, check out some of these other...
I like this channel because I'm pretty sure that's going to be the majority. I don't care what's in it. Give me my sandwich, okay? I think it was the movie where the ladies' man, where he goes, "Hey, sweet thing, I want to buy you a fish sandwich." He had a little lisp. I used to say it for years, like, "Let me buy you a fish sandwich," But yeah, I mean, Americans, most of the food that we have here, a lot of it has a bunch of chemicals. We're drinking chemicals, eating chemicals, and we don't care because it tastes so good. Even when people come from other countries and they taste our food, they can see why so many Americans are fat, because you can go buy a box of donuts or any type of craziness and just have your way with it, whether it's on McDonald's or Rally's or Checkers or Arby's, whatever have you. It's on every corner and whatnot. And, it's an addiction. But what do you guys think in the comment section? Do you eat McDonald's? And after hearing this, would you continue to eat it? I'm curious to know. Let me know in the comment section below. All right. And if you like this type of content, and if you like me doing these videos, these informative videos every once in a while, let me know that as well by liking the video, subscribing, hitting that notification bell, and then leaving a comment below. Appreciate you guys for watching. Peace.